Hello, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. We have a big pattern shift to talk about in our weather forecast as we head into the next couple of weeks. It's at the jet stream level, and it's going to change our temperatures and our storm track over the next several days. So we're going to go over that. We're going to take a look real quickly at, what's happening right now. So we'll get started right away with a look at this pattern shift that's taking place. But first, here is a peek at what's going on with the latest temperatures across the region. Check this out. Now, as you know, the cold Arctic air mass has been in place up here in the northern plains where Montana and the Dakotas seeing sub-zero temperatures and dangerous wind chills. That continues. And that cold air diving all the way down to the south where we do have areas in the deep south where you see these white colors there. That's right at that freezing mark. So you get down here, it's a little warmer, but that white line, that is the freezing mark. So again, zooming out, you can take a look at this temperature scale, and you can kind of see just how far south that cold air has dove across the nation. Now, the cold air is going to still be with us for the time being. As we take a look at one model, we can see that there is a shift that's coming in our area with regards, and in our nation, I should say, with regards to our temperatures. So we'll take a look at the global temperature pattern here as we go through the next 7 to 10 days. Now, this cold air, again, that white line, if you're watching that, that's that freezing line, and the Arctic air is the purple and white blob. That starts lifting as we go through the next several days. And as it does so, we're going to see some big time changes. So that big pattern shift is going to do a couple of things. Well, it's going to be here for a little while with that cold air, but we're also going to notice a change in our average temperature. Just out from the Climate Prediction Center is a look. Well, check it out. We got to look at what's going on with our outlook for the month of February. Oh, behind my head here. Check this out. Now, the colors need a little bit of explaining here. This isn't and doesn't mean that it's going to be above average for the entire month, but what it does is it calculates the average temperature for the entire month. And we do that by taking the low and the high for each day, adding them together, and then dividing everything over the course of the month, well, by the number of days in the month. And we come up with a monthly average temperature. So that number, whatever it is in the days of the month, 29 this February, right? 29 days. All right. Now, where you see this tannish bleh color right here in the middle, that's Nebraska. You got Colorado, southern Wyoming, and that extends all the way up into the northeast United States and upstate New York. Now, those areas have a slight chance at seeing temperatures that will be above average by the time we total up the entire month of February. Those chances increase greatly in the northern plains, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the Dakotas, and up in Montana. We're going to see temperatures there that will have a very good chance at being above average by the time we get to the end of the month. And as we take a look at the month of February, way up there in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, you folks are looking at about a 40 to 50% chance at seeing temperatures be above average. This red stuff in the Pacific Northwest, oh my goodness, what a winter, what a fall it's been for you, right? We've had rainstorm after winter storm and ice storm and snow. It's just been pretty miserable in the Pacific Northwest. Your chances of being above average temperature-wise are looking pretty slick. Indeedly doodly. Now, as we look down here, that's Alaska. And Alaska, most of your area, particularly the Aleutian chain, in the good chance at being above average. And the darker red color there, just to give you some perspective, that's at 50 to 60% chance at being above average. So we have warmer weather in store. Now, what's this mean down here where it's white? It doesn't mean colder. It means equal chances. What's equal chances mean? Well, equal chances means we have equal chances of being above normal or below normal. That's going out on a limb. But that is the science and the best that we can do really with our skill at going out a month out. Now let's take a look at the precipitation outlook that came out as we went through our Thursday. Now this is good also for the month of for February. And look at this. We're seeing a shift. So for my neighbors in the Pacific Northwest, keep in mind just how ridiculous it's been this year and late last year in 2023, right? We're going to see more frequent storms making landfall in California, giving you an above average chance at seeing wetter than average conditions. Okay, so the desert Southwest all the way into Las Vegas and much of southern Nevada. A very good chance of being above average in the central and southern coastal area of California, including the elevated terrain. How about that East Coast? Ooh, look at this. The peninsula of Florida, a very, very good chance at being above average. Where you see that dark forest green color, that indicates, well, about an 80% chance or so of having wet conditions as we go through the month of February, and the entire Gulf Coast seeing that as well. Now, there's some pretty tough and rumbled drought conditions down there in the Gulf Coast states, but it has really been stormy the last couple of weeks, basically since the new year and beyond. Hey, if you're watching, I'll tell you a little bit about myself right now as we go through, but then we'll take a look at some of these forecast models and we'll show you that shift that's coming that's going to cause a chance for the warm up. And how long will we stay cold? I'm going to answer those. I'm Hutch Johnson. And if you don't mind, throw in the chat a like if you like what you're seeing on the video, but also let me know where you're watching from. I love to see. I am a meteorologist of 26 years on air, of better than or close to 20 years of teaching college level meteorology classes as well, and spent some time in research meteorology studying with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration right up here. So I got to tell you that weather online can be fun, and it can be interesting to hear that behind the curtains view that meteorologists do. What do we do when we're trying to forecast and tell you what the chances are? So again, if you're watching, thanks for all the likes. Subscribe to my channel, Hutch's Weather, and hit the little dingleberry with the notifications to be notified when I am going on. Now, what you're seeing behind me is a hemispheric view, the northern hemisphere. Here is the lower 48 states down here. And what we are going to notice is this purple below average temperature nonsense sweep its way out of here, and the red above average temperature nonsense. I kind of like it that way. A little above average is okay with me. As we go through winter here in the lower 48. It's going to be a nice warm up after a real cold start to the new year. Let's take a look at a model. And what we're going to show you here first and foremost is a look at the climate forecast model. Now, as I've said before, the farther out in time we go out, the lower our confidence is. And honestly, the lower our skill is at forecasting the weather that far out. So, hi, Rebecca. Good to have you on board from Can Do. If you want to know where Can Do is, it's right up here. Well, my finger gets cut off because my camera isn't set to go out that far. North Central North Dakota, practically Canada. And I got to tell you, it's cold. Good to have you on board, and thanks for letting me know. If you are out there watching live, hey, throw me a line. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to touch on a question you have. One of the things I love doing is teaching about weather. Now, let's talk about this. This model that you're seeing here is a climate forecast model. It does go out a long, long time. So we're going to put the date up here. And the timestamp where it says 12Z at the very end of that line on the time bar up there, that Z is Zulu or Greenwich Mean Time. We have to subtract 6 hours in the central time zone to calculate the time. So we'll go through and we'll take a look at this as we set this into motion. Now we'll start out here and we'll kind of let this play through. And what we're going to notice is our cold air mass. The color table here, by the way, blue, this first layer of blue, that is the freezing line. The whites, ooh, that's getting down into the near zero range. So check this out as we get below zero up in the pinks. The cold air is going to stick around and it's going to sweep down to the deep south once again. We have brutal cold temperatures heading your way. So keep that in mind as we go toward the 20th, and that's heading into your weekend. That's right. Another blob of Arctic is going to make its way into the northern plains. We're talking wind chills 30 to 40 below in the Dakotas and parts of northern Minnesota. Eastern Montana won't be too hot either. And looks like we've got another person in from the Crookston area, Minnesota, as we are looking at a very big purple blob of nonsense over the northern plains. But that cold air is diving south. So be prepared in the deep south for more very frigid air to punch its way in. Now, as we set this into motion just a little bit more, whoops, it really jumped there. Let me go ahead and hit the play button here. Now, what you're going to notice is that Arctic air, the cold stuff, start moving off into the Northland, northern parts of the Atlantic and the Great Lakes region, and we'll start to see a little bit of a rebound in our temperatures down in the Gulf Coast states and the southwestern United States also, for the time being, getting a little break as we head into the 23rd next week onto Tuesday. Now, check it out. There's that purple blob up north, but notice it shift off to eastern Canada, the eastern portion of the North American continent. That's going to be huge, and it's going to allow a nice little warm up in the nation's south central part as we slide in to later in the month of January. So you're looking at January 28th. This is actually Saturday evening. Look at these temperatures. Florida looks good to me. And up in North Dakota, looks good to me too, because we got 20s instead of minus 20s as we head through the weekend. So that's the weekend. Now check it out. The warmth starts spreading all the way up into the Dakotas and southern Minnesota. Those are 30s and even some 40s, folks. And our friends in the central plain states have gotten whack after whack after whack of snow. I'm talking Omaha, I'm talking Des Moines, I'm talking parts of northern Missouri. It's been a just real wintry winter. So as we head into that first week of the month of February, notice that 0201, the 1st of February, there's still a cold air mass that's going to slide in. And then as we head into the latter part of the month, we're going to start seeing this thing sweep out of here, and a better chance, notice not every day is warm, but a better chance at starting to see the warmth grow northward. And that means real nice moderated air masses in the deep south as well. So a big time pattern shift in the jet stream is going to allow us to have a chance at seeing this purple blob of Arctic nonsense work its way out. We'll have a couple of skirts with it in the northern plains. That's not unusual for up here in the Dakotas and Minnesota. But the deep south will start to see a return to some more mild conditions. And temperatures up north, well, you have a great chance, as we showed you moments ago, of seeing well above average conditions. And if you want to take a look at the storm track with me, we can do that with you as well. And let me put the precip and rate on here, and we'll go ahead and let this play through. This is, again, the climate forecast model. I'm going to slow this speed down just a little bit so that we can actually take in what it's showing us. Stormy and wet weather in the Gulf Coast states through portions of the deep south in Florida as we close out the month of January, and more systems working their way through that area. Very quiet precipitation wise through the nation's northern plains as we go through the latter part of January and into early February. So really no major storm tracks through the northern plains the way it looks over the next few weeks. Really, other than just a few systems skirting the Northland, it doesn't look too bad. And notice the Pacific Northwest, where it has been very wet, very cold, very icy, and very snowy. After we close out the month of January, that storm track shifts south. Watch what happens now, starting now as we start February, where the storm systems make landfall in and along the Pacific coast. There's one making its way in. There's two making its way into California. 3, California, a little bit up into the northwest. Then 4, California. You can see the favored onshore location of the unsettled or inclement weather. We call that the storm track, and that's going to work its way into Central California. And that's going to help keep things up north a little drier than average. So that's a look at your weather. Hey, I got James on here. Looks like we get in the first couple of weeks of February without much more very cold temperatures. Again, very good. And James, I don't know where you're watching from, but you know what? It's been super cold down in the deep south, and we have temperatures here that have just been very unfun indeed. So now let's take a quick look and a close at our current conditions. And to do that, I'm going to plop the radar up here. And this is really interesting to look at too. I like to go ahead and return back to sender, return back to where we are right now, and take a look at this national picture, because we have this cold air mass causing snow in the deep south. And I'm talking about still off into, well, it's not unusual to see snowfall in the mountains of West Virginia, right? Or even Virginia from Richmond south. But you get down into Knoxville, it looks like there's pink there. We got Knoxville, we got Clinton, those areas seeing the potential for some icing. That's what the pink means. And then you got dive south into Chattanooga and point south, and it is rain. But I'm telling you what, the temperatures here are a lot unpleasant. Let me shake this up just a little bit, and I'll go ahead and put up the temperatures that we have in and around Birmingham. And we got 47 right now up in the Birmingham area, but you go north even just a little ways and we're skirting and kissing. We're kissing freezing. That's right. We have Memphis at 33 degrees. Jackson, wow, that looks pretty cold in Tennessee there. Jackson, Tennessee, 33. Now, let's take a look in Jackson, Mississippi, because it's no picnic there either. You may want to pack the picnic basket away for a while. We got 50s and showers north. Look at the transition of temperatures from 50s in Hattiesburg, and you go up to Canton, we're 54, and then by the time you get up a little farther north, Greenwood, not Greensboro, Greenwood, 41 degrees. So we're slowly sneaking into the 30s out there. And now Little Rock. How about Little Rock? Relatives out there in the Pine Bluff area, my friends, you've got 36 degrees in Pine Bluff. You get up to Little Rock, I think that 3 might be mistaken. Somebody might have dumped some ice there on that Bryant thermometer. 3 must be an error. We'll go with that. Now, as we take a look elsewhere, Jackson, we've got temperatures up there at Conway, let's say 34 degrees, and the cold takes hold. Now, let's look at, I'll turn these temperatures off real quick. Unless you have an area of the country you want me to look at, we have had some very stormy and snowy weather near Spokane, the northern part of the Rockies here into Montana. Look at the snow fly there. It continues with temperatures in the teens and 20s. And if you want to go skiing all the way from the mountains of Missoula, Bozeman, check this out, all the way toward Jackson, Wyoming, in the Jackson Hole area. They've been getting hit with snow after wave of snow. Salt Lake City, Utah, all the way to the Rockies of Colorado, where here just in the last 24 hours, we got some significant snow out there near Vail and Winter Park. So a lot of snow flying there as well. Now I'm going to turn off these temperatures so we have a little bit better view, if you will, of what we got going on with watches and warnings right now. So off go the temperatures. Get out of here. All right, now let's take a look at what's going on with watches, warnings, and advisories issued, of course, by your local National Weather Service office. And for travelers across our great nation, we want to let you know what you're looking at here. Now, I'm going to change the radar back over to the national view so we can, get a picture at what's going on instead of at single Doppler radar locations. All right, what you're looking at nationally and what these colors mean. This blue, the blue that you're seeing here, those are winter weather advisories. They're outlined counties that have winter weather advisories from the Pacific Northwest through Montana, western parts of the Dakotas, and all the way through Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls, we start seeing some of these reds. You know what? Those are winter storm warnings. They have been whacked with wind and snow there, and it's not fun to drive. We got winter storm warnings in the mountains west of Cheyenne, by the way, as we continue to see a batch of snow all the way from Torrington, Scottsbluff, south to Sidney, that's Nebraska, Kimball, Nebraska, on into Hayes, Kansas. And look at this. What's this pink? I'll tell you what that is. That's a wind chill warning. And look at Chillicothe out there in Missouri. We got us some flakes a flying and some wind chill to be worried about out there. And even in Kansas City, from Leavenworth north just a little bit to Atchison and out to Topeka in Kansas, we have some good, healthy bands of snow. So now as we get into the deep south, the red counties we've defined as winter storm warnings. That's what we have going on up there near Charleston, winter storm warning for your area. And that includes wind gusts to 45 miles per hour. And how about 8 to 12 inches of shoveling trouble? And that's no fun. Get the snowblowers out if you got them. And as we look out towards Philadelphia. Look at this. Philadelphia winter storm warning expires here quite some time. But look at the snowfall we're expecting. 4 to 6 inches. Basically for the time frame between 4 a.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow on Friday. We're expecting wind and snow and icy travel conditions for our neighbors in eastern PA, all the way out to Trenton, and all the way out to Long Beach. It's going to be less than fun for sure. Now, what we got going on over here, lake effect snow, still impacting you folks out there near Cleveland as we head into the night tonight and tomorrow. This lake effect snow has produced areas of over 40 inches of snow, 40 inches of snow, not far from Buffalo and up in northern parts of New York. So the purple that you see there, that's a lake effect snow warning in these areas. And it just continues with the lake effect snow machine in full swing there. Oklahoma, what's this brownish stuff? That's a wind advisory. Hey, get some extra hairspray because it's going to get windy. And we do have a winter storm watch near Chico, California. That's what these yellow counties are for more onboarding of moisture from the Pacific coast. Elevated terrain above 7,000 feet. How about a foot or more of snow for you? All right, that's a look at the national weather picture. Again, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I'm coming at you from the Fargo area, but I have been a meteorologist on air for the better part of, 26 plus years. Teaching meteorology at the college level, and also just appreciating sharing some of my excitement about our weather with you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like. And let me know what you'd like me to discuss in future videos. I love to see your ideas as well. Have a wonderful night, and